White women who dye their hair blonde are supporting white supremacy.
Look, it has to be said, hair politics are not a black thing.
And as someone who's been brunette for most of her adult life, I can honestly say that the way people treated me between these two hair colors was like night and day.
Individuality is something black people aren't as easily afforded compared to their non-black counterparts. That's why a lot of us are happy and excited to find out the killer everyone's been talking about on the news isn't black.
Police have described the gunman as a 6-foot-tall white male.
So why we let our shoulders down when we find out the person who started that fight, whatever fight that may be, is not black. Heck, we're not the only ones fighting the good fight here, okay? Asian people go through this. People of color go through this as well. They are also not safe from this kind of dehumanizing scrutiny. We feel like other black people are a representation of who and what we are in public. If they are seen as ghetto, then we're all going to be seen that way in the majority. If they are seen as awful and violent, then we're all being painted as awful and violent, and we have no choice but to bring that person to order, not only for the sake of them doing right by others, but also to show other non-black people that we aren't all the same.
Accountability in the black community is like kryptonite. They run faster from accountability than they'll run from the cops. It completely throws me off. They'll get onto the internet and see the negatives that are in the community, the negatives that are making the community look bad. They'll see the groups within themselves tearing themselves down and still manage to blame white folks.
Which is fair and true, but my issue is this: is even when we scold other black people, we make it a point to note their blackness as the thing that inspired their act. Okay, let me put this another way. You'll see statements like, why can't we stop acting this way? We as black people need to do better and take accountability. But I think in all honesty, when we do this, we end up stripping that person of their individuality ourselves without acknowledging that despite society's continued effort to ensure we're all placed in this one small, inescapable box, how we see that person and how we judge them has an effect, and it greatly influences how they'll see themselves moving forward. We are so focused on reacting to how non-black people see us that we constantly use it to excuse seeing each other in the same limiting light. Let's look at how we critique black people who, for no other reason than their shared disregard for the humanity of young black women, continue to support artists like R. Kelly and Chris Brown. When we call them out, we make it a point to imply them being black is why they continue to fund this waste of oxygen. Typical of black women, typical of black men, typical of black people in general to do this are alright, but is it less typical for anyone else to do the same? Russell Brand may not be uber famous anymore, but he still has a loyal, culty white audience that clings on to his every confusing word, the conspiracy nonsense those people spew in support of that maniac.
I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes. And of course, I'm now going to have the opportunity to defend these charges in court, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. In the meantime, you lot, stay free, and we will be continuing to discuss this matter. Praise the Lord.
People keep claiming he's about to he's exposing the industry, he's going to bring down the government.
Yes, this is probably someone who's done bad things, but this is also someone who's trying to expose other people that are doing bad things on a societal level.
That is why all of these women are speaking out. It is nonsense. It is debauchery. It is fucking stupid. It is flippin' awful, but these people still continue. They still persist. Why? Because that just is who they are. The same way there are lots of white non-culty people who probably hate the living shit out of Russell Brand. And yeah, you should. Everybody should hate this man. Allegedly, right? He can sue me for that, right? Everybody should hate this man. But there are a lot who do. It is not because they are white. They're doing that because they're conspiracy theorists, because they are dumb, deaf, dumb. Ugh.
Trying to shut me down because, they have all these false reports and news stories about me and a 16-year-old. And I just remember that it's the mainstream media, it's their tactics. That's what's happening here. This is not a story about me and consent or anything like that. Mainstream media bad, me good. Me not mainstream, then mainstream evil. Big power money.
Elvis and many other rock stars got away with a lot of other PDF file type ish. And it wasn't because they had a loyal, unwavering black audience pushing them. Charlie Sheen, for God's sakes. That man did did a lot of nefarious ish, but he still makes bank. The president of the United States has support from people of all races because they can be just as dumb and loyal to predators as anyone else. You don't need to frame this behavior as being exclusive to black people to get your point across. There are people who have dressed up and tried to look dapper to support serial killers. Serial killers who are not even that hot, by the way. Ted Bundy was overhyped to the tits, if you ask me. That man was barely a 4, if you ask me.
Gonna get me next.
But yet you're fascinated by him.
Very, very. Every night when I go to bed, I just, get very scared. I shut my door and lock him,
I'm not afraid of him. He just doesn't look like the type to kill somebody. You try to imagine yourself in his place and to see how he's feeling, looking at the pillows with blood stains and everything, and if he really did it or not.
Most white serial killers get letters from their female fans all of the time. These women swoon over these rejects. They are always ready and willing to destroy their lives over these men. But I'm pretty sure had the serial killers been black, had the women who are writing them been black, it would have been, oh, look how we act. Look how black women are. Look at how black men are. All black men do is kill. All black women want to do is support killers. When will we change? You are definitely not a part of this. That person may never change. It's not because they black. Stupid people exist. We should speak out against the behavior, yes, and offer solutions and encourage others to do better. But claiming them wanting a little prison hookup is because they're black is so stupid. In the name of Astrovino, that is so flippin' stupid. In 1981, a Japanese predator by the name of Issei Sagawa, I know I mispronounced it, okay? But he's a trash human being. He's a trashy person. I do not owe him that, alright? I do not have to pronounce his name correctly. Issei Sagawa, that's who you are now. Issei Sagawa had wealth and all of the safety and security that it came with. Money can buy happiness, yes, but it also can buy health and beauty a lot of the times. And those are things that a lot of people are simply not willing to live without. He killed somebody. He SA'd somebody before eating their flesh. He took pictures of her body at each eating stage because he thought it would make him healthier and make him more beautiful. He stuffed her dismembered remains into 2 suitcases and was caught trying to dispose of them. His rich father did what any soulless parent would do for their child. He got him a top-notch defense lawyer who helped him get admitted into a mental institution instead of serving actual prison time. The press in Japan got a hold of its story and it spread like wildfire. He gained celebrity status. He was deported to Japan and his star power only grew. He checked himself out of the hospital in 1986 and lived out the rest of his life as a free man. He was famous. He was being interviewed by a well-known publication like Vice in 2011. In the article, he opened up about how he had cannibalistic desires for women. He talks about how he committed bestiality on his dog at the young age of 24. I mean, it's old, but it's young. This man followed a German woman home, but she luckily fought him off before he could eat her bums. He wanted to eat her ass. Eating people's buttocks was apparently a thing for him or whatever. What? Money spoke again and he was not held accountable. Japanese media gave this man all the fame and notoriety he needed to profit off of his crimes, insisting that a certain off-the-wall behavior is only evident in black and brown people is racist. And I think we believe that if we observe black people doing bad things, then we all have the right to suddenly deify other racial groups and frame ourselves as the ultimate villains. Only we are capable of this. Only we act this way, black people. There are cultures where people will get killed for even breathing off script, but some of you make it a point to claim they're just perfect, and we would be that way ourselves if we just behave. There's just people in this world who love abusers, no matter the race or gender. Why claim otherwise? What does that do? I think we need to start asking ourselves if we're against racism because it truly is wrong and incorrect when people claim black and brown people cause the most problems, or if we just say that for vibe. We should not be comfortable with black and brown people making these claims when trying to bring the group to order. Is it true that we're more problematic or not? Is it true or not? Is it okay to make swiping judgments that frame black and brown people as more abusive and harmful than white people or not? The people who do this remind me of the feminist creators who come online and say, oh my god, I realize a lot of women are jealous of other women. A lot of women gossip about each other. It's like, yes, a lot of men do it too. What's your point? Why is it suddenly someone just trying to hold the group accountable when they are using the same talking points? Either something is a fact or it isn't one. Either the earth is round or it is not. Another example of this is when alt people share their struggles with fitting in with others in their communities. These individuals are viciously bullied. They are othered in a way that threatens their social mobility as well as their mental health. There are people who make it their life's mission to stifle anyone's attempts to deviate from the norm. Seeing others be themselves infuriates those who've chosen to shrink themselves to avoid exclusion. But every non-white alt person swears that their racial group and their racial group alone is capable of having close-minded people. White goth kids have been talking about how unwanted and unseen they feel in their communities all of the time. Many talk about how bullied they were for being different growing up, but every non-white alt person swears white alt people are welcomed and embraced in their communities unlike them. We all grew up watching white-led movies where nerdy white kids were ostracized for their lack of style, their inability to subscribe to gender norms, their social status, their past, and everything else in between. But for some reason, if a black or brown person is bullied for being a nerd for these same things, there's always a need to suggest that this is not something white people experience. There's a need to suggest that, if they were white, they would not be going through this. If the people they were in school with were white, they would not treat them this way. Everyone swears being a nerd is easy in every community but their own. Even when it comes to corruption, we swear it's just black people not wanting to see each other succeed. But if it's specific to color, then why is there corruption everywhere? Why were there kids marching in Nepal? Why were there Americans marching against their own government? Why are there people standing up against their own governments everywhere across the world? The natural hair community has always been framed as toxic due to what some refer to as the policing of black women's hair. We the natural hair warriors, as they are called, go head to head on the internet every day debating about nonsense. Every conversation around how Native Africans are incapable of coming together and building in the way other communities supposedly have are misleading and have no basis whatsoever. They fail to take into account just what little knowledge we have about the political upkeep of other continents and communities. The many wars and feuds Asian communities have had, you guys.
Asians are all the same is something I heard a lot growing up, but the only thing that really unites East Asians is beefing with each other all the time. When my progressive white friends ask me for my take on some sort of Asian identity, discourse, I gotta tell them I'm Asian, that's its own thing. They don't even see me as Asian, so I cannot speak for them and I don't want to, because if they're all disagreeing with each other, I would just stay out of it. And it's not just Asians beefing with Asians, vice versa. It's not just the century-old historical tensions between the countries, looking at you, Imperial Japan. It's also Asian Americans versus Asians living in their origin country. Asian Americans are more protective of their culture to preserve it because they're the minority. But Asians in Asia are who fucking cares? We want people to participate in our traditions with, appreciation.
Look at how the Irish experienced so much harm in the hands of the British. Look at how several groups we now consider white without second thought today for the right to be seen as such. Italians, Arabs, and so on and so forth. Look at how Japan treated China. Look at how the fracture these conflicts caused still create a rift between members of those communities today. We need to stop being so eager to deify and evangelize other groups and make taking accountability and doing better within our community the goal for the sake of those within it. We don't have to conclude we are lesser people and we are less capable. We do not have to conclude that we are lesser than and are less capable of being good in order to do so. That's just our internalized racism showing its ass again. Infighting is not exclusive to us as a group. We are behind because we have less resources and not enough knowledge about the past, the many things that help shape our present, and the tools we need to build a better future. Alright? And when you stand up against racism, the thing you're saying, it should be because you've thought it through. It should be because you truly understand what individuality is. Don't just parrot other people's words. Parroting other people's words is why so many people end up contradicting themselves. That's why so many people will say, oh no, it's not fair for non-black people to see us this way, and then turn around and say, oh no, actually, but we are this way. There's feminists who come online and say, oh my gosh, women are not who I thought they were. I found out you guys gossip. I found out women can be jealous of other women. Yes, because women are human beings. Women are human beings. You don't have to deify women. We are human beings. The issue is, the genocide men have been enacting on us since the beginning of time. That is why we're feminist, doll. Not because we are incapable of being awful ourselves. We can be horrible friends. Yes, women can be jealous. Yes, women can be vindictive. That is a human thing. Men can be jealous as well. What is your point? I utterly despise this sort of thing. Anyway, subscribe to me because it's me, because I'm lovely, because I'm that girl, because you love me and you know it. Subscribe, like this video, leave a comment. Tell me if you agree with what I said on this video. If you disagree, sure, disagree, but how dare you? I'm kidding. Tell me if you disagree. I would like to hear that side as well. Also, yeah, bye. Ew, bye.